So again, hi everyone. My name is Rabia, and Reem is with me here today, and we'll be doing a college prep series kind of episode, part one. And today we'll be talking about community service and activities.
So let's talk about the difference between community service and activities. Um, Activities tend to be more recreational based, and sometimes they include serving others. So what does recreational mean? It means like something that's more for fun. It's usually more creative. Recreation, it's like for relaxing. And then community service is specifically meant to serve others or your community as a whole. So the example that we're going to use is Green Buddies and NHS. They're both activities that include serving others, but each of their focus is different. So, for example, NHS is specifically it's still an activity, but it's specifically about serving the organization and contributing to it, and how can we improve our organization as a whole, and also improve our school. Green Buddies is more of a recreational based activity. Um, Plant trees, you come up with creative ways to help the school recycle, and sometimes you serve others. Um, so some activities or some community service activities can go either way, but you should differentiate based on your needs. So, for example, if you have a lot of community service activities that are very clearly the purpose of them is to serve others, then maybe you wouldn't include Green Buddies um, as a community service. You would include it as an activity on your scholarship or your college application.
Now, talking about activities, the number one thing is whenever you're doing activity, just like with community services, you need to track your hours. You need proof that you did what you're saying you did, because if you do not track your hours, they will not count, most likely. So make sure you track your hours and that you have proof that you did those activities. So you want to have a little bit of everything with your activities. You want to have kind of like a mix. You want to be well rounded. So you could find certain activities that relate to what you're interested in, like a hobby you like, but also other ones that you could say are kind of like more intellectual, more school related, but you want to have a good mix of activities. Try to do different things, go outside of your comfort zone, things that you usually wouldn't do, and try to find activities in those realms. Another tip that we would say is to try to stick to one activity for at least a year or more, as long as you can, because when you're sometimes you will have to create like an academic resume when you're applying to colleges, or even just wherever you are in life. When you're doing something, they want to see that you're committed to what you're doing. So if you stay in a certain place for about a year or so, that shows that you stuck it out until the end and you put in work for that commitment, and you didn't just join for like a few weeks or a month and just leave because you didn't feel like it. It shows that you're committed. And to also, activities are not limited to school. So activities can be very broad. They could be things in your community. They could be local sports team, like a soccer, basketball, volleyball team that you join in your community. So that can also be something you do. Any local organization that works in your community or in your area, that can also be an activity. There's youth groups that have certain specific activities that will help you develop your skills, and also leadership skills, which can be very important. So just don't think that your activities have to be something in school. It has to be NHS or Green Buddies. It could be many different things. I see somebody with their hand raised. Just wait until the end and we will take all your questions then.
So just like with your activities, you also want to track your hours. And just so you guys know, when you apply to specific scholarships and sometimes also on your college applications, they ask you how many hours did you spend on this activity um, per week. So if you haven't tracked your hours, then you can't say that you spent 3 hours on your soccer team each week, or you spent 5 hours on your community service in a specific time frame. So that's why it's so important to track your hours, because you're going to be asked for them later on. Um, and another important thing to have is always have an advisor to confirm. So whether it's an activity or it's community service, this kind of goes for both. you want to have an advisor to confirm. An advisor could be your soccer team coach, could be the adult that's in charge of your club, or that's in charge of your activity, or the one that planned the service. They're great for letters of recommendation. So when you have to get a letter of recommendation for a scholarship or for your college applications, they're the people that are going to know you the best, and they're also going to be able to say, yes, this person, if they're contacted, can say, this person committed 3 hours a week for our community service project. This person was at soccer practice every week from April to June. So that's another really important aspect of tracking your hours. And we're also going to go through examples of what tracking looks like. Another great thing about service is that you can kind of pick something that you're interested in, but the most important thing is to pick a type of service and stick to it. So like Rabia said, it shows that you're committed. Just like any other activity, it shows that you're committed. And if you have one or two that you do for like a year or two, it shows that you stay with something and you help it develop and that you're committed. For example, if you do something different every 6 months, then it literally just looks like you're trying to fill up your resume or your activities or your service. It doesn't actually doesn't look like you're there to help the project grow or to make it better. And then, like I said, you want to seek opportunities. This is not a big deal, but it's kind of nice for you as an individual to seek opportunities that relate to your area of interest or your future career. It gives you kind of like an advantage. For example, if you want to go into nursing and you volunteer at like a clinic with this, and you shadow a nurse and you help her out, that's going to help you in the future. But it's also nice because it's going to give you that extra experience for your career, your future career, and you can see whether you like it or not. And again, if you know that you want to do education, then it might be kind of smart to do service that's related to education, because it shows on your college applications that you know what you want to do, you're driven, you have like a plan ahead, right? But again, it's not that important to have like service that's related to your future career. For example, I don't really know what I'm going to study, and my kind of community service was a little bit all over the place. It was centered around certain things, but it wasn't like one specific thing like nursing or education. The most important thing with service is to show that you're a part of a larger community.
And continuing with community service, if you're if you're thinking about going to college, so a thing that colleges love is if you create your own service project. So this shows that you're willing to put in the work to start a whole project, and you're passionate about it and you care about helping others. So an example could be you get a bunch of people together and you organize a park cleanup, or just on the roads, or just in your community anywhere, just any project that helps other people in your community. If you set that up yourself and you organize it, that shows a lot of initiative and hard work and good work ethic, and colleges will like that if that's something that's important to you and you want to show that to the colleges that you're applying to. And another piece of advice would be is find organizations that offer leadership positions or things like internships. Leadership positions give you an edge, kind of an advantage. Like let's say you serve as the vice president of something, or some youth director, things like that. They not only do they sound good, they give you good experience going into college or in the future. You will develop those leadership skills, and when you're like, let's say you want to join an organization in college, you could tell them, hey, this is the experience that I have and I've done things like this, so I would be a good fit for your organization, and then they'll be more willing to take you in and get you working in those positions. And examples of those could be just ones that we thought of in our community. Obviously community youth groups, especially because we are youth. So those are good options for you. There's Michigan Muslim Youth Council, or Dream of Detroit. Those are just some off the top of our heads. There's so many more that you could research and look up and ask around about. But the ones that will offer you leadership positions or internships, that will really help you develop your skills as an organization member, and also as a leader.
Just before I kind of go into the tracking example, just like Rabia said, your service or your activities don't have to be from your school. That's a common misconception, because you know, unfortunately, we're a little bit limited at Frontier. We don't have as many options for activities and service. So you have to think out of the box. It could be as simple as starting a WhatsApp group with your friends to encourage each other for an idea. Like I literally wrote all of my college essays about how I started a SAT support group with my friends. And that literally was just us in a WhatsApp group, and we'd meet once a month to do like a game night or to have a guest. It's simple things like that. This is going to sound a little funny, but you can, so much of your college applications and scholarship applications are going to be you like fluffing up yourself or your work. And there's no shame in that because you want to sound as amazing as you really are. Like you want to sound good, right? So even if you did something like Rabia said, a park cleanup, you can make that sound amazing if you connect it to good ideas, like saying, you know, with global warming, and you connect it in the right ways. Um, these simple actions that you might do, you know, once a week or a few times a week, can actually be really, really good topics for your college essays, um, and you can still make it like it doesn't have to be like this big organization, right? It can be something really small and simple as long as you talk about it in the right way. So like we said, tracking is really important. Um, this is how I did it. I wish I had started earlier. I didn't start till like, I want to say like halfway through my junior year. Freshman, this is a great time to start doing this. Sophomores, it's never too late, even juniors. Um, and if you don't know, for example, so here I put the date and then I put exactly what the activity was or the service activity. And then I kind of gave a small description and I set the amount of time that I spent on it. And then this is my reference. Rabio is my reference, for example. Let's say that for our juniors who have service or have activities, but they didn't necessarily track every hour. What I did for me was I talked to my advisor. So in this case, it would be Rabia, and I said, I need to estimate. I need to estimate how much time I spent on this service project or in this activity. Would you say that 3 hours a week from January to March is a realistic estimate? Um, and then if they say yes or no, work with them to develop like a good number that's like a representative that's representative of the time and work that you spent with that organization, that club, or whatever that is, right? Um, and so then you can just say like 3 hours per week, Monday through Thursday, for example. Same thing with activities. It literally the same format kind of applies. And then what I do is at the end of each year, I write all of the things that I've been involved in. So I was involved with this organization, MASS and MMYC and NHS. And then I write if like I had a leadership position, I say I was the vice president. Yearbook. So then at the end of the year, this is going to be a little bit hard to read after you've had so many so many entries. You can just look kind of you can kind of look at an overview of your year and say, okay, for this college application, I'm going to write about my internship with Dream of Detroit or my time on the yearbook club.
So now we're gonna kind of connect this to awards and scholarships, like what you can get out of doing things like this. So many scholarships, when you're applying, and some colleges will ask for awards or acknowledgments that you have received. Me personally, I think every single college, actually no, a couple of the colleges and programs that I applied to, they ask for like an academic resume, and part of that resume will be, have you won any awards or do you have any acknowledgments? And that can, it depends where you apply, but that can have a big effect on, you know, how they see you, on how they view your application. So a way you could receive these awards is finding local or online contests to that you can enter to kind of challenge yourself. And not only will this, you know, be an opportunity for you to win something, it could also be a really fun experience. You know, if you pick something that you enjoy, you know, don't pick something you're gonna hate doing and dread doing, because you most likely won't put in that much effort into it. But pick something that you genuinely will enjoy doing, and you're more likely to put in more effort and have a better chance of winning. And don't be like afraid to sign up for anything. Sign up for anything that you think that you can act that is possible for you to do, and that you think that you can enjoy, because you never know, you could win. You could ask your teachers, maybe they know something. Your science teachers, maybe they know something. If you like building things, constructing things, maybe your science teacher knows of something. Maybe Mr. K knows of an art contest you can enter in. Just ask around, do whatever you can. So like examples, I could just set an art contest. There are plenty of essay writing contests out there about lots of different topics. So if you find maybe a topic that you're passionate about and you want to write about it, that could be a competition that you enter in. And there's also like poetry and all those kinds of things. Just find something that you enjoy doing and just go for it and try and see what happens. You never know what could happen. And just try your best. That's all you can do at the end of the day. You don't have to win. It could also be just like, hey, I got second place in this, or even third place, is depending on what it is. But just just try your best, and that's like the best you can do. And it's okay to not have any. I, I when I applied, I did not have any like this because I just didn't have any contests that I entered in. It's not something that I thought about. I focused mainly on community service and activities and like GPA. It's not something that I thought about, and I didn't have any of these. And I still like got far with those with my resume, even though I didn't have awards. So this is not a deal breaker at all if you don't have any. So you don't have to stress about this one. You don't stress if you're like, I have nothing. Don't even worry about it. It's okay if you don't have any. And now, just to let you guys know, you can, before we end, actually, I wanted to show you guys something. So I pulled up the like official Frontier service logs or community service log, and also the verification form you're gonna have to fill out. So I'm just gonna pause and open that up.
I'm just gonna add on the like awards slide. Just be careful when like I know Google's very powerful, so I know there's definitely like opportunities out there. Just be careful because there are a lot of scams. So just do your research. Make sure that anything that you enter in, you don't put in any personal information, and you are able to have. There's like a contact number that you can reach them. So just be safe with that. But it's definitely the internet has so many opportunities. You just have to look at the right places, like Rabia said.
And so this is like the official GE Frontier form that you're going to have to fill out. So community service hours log, you put your name at the top, put your date, time, the time you got in to do whatever service you're doing, the time you got out, oops. And then your supervisor can initial here. So this would be like the best way to track your hours, because if you have like their initials, you have a concrete documentation of every single time you did something and for how long. So let's say if you're doing something, this is especially important if you're doing something like long term. Let's say you're going to help out at the elementary school. Hopefully, when you guys go back in person, you can go to the other, go to, if you're helping out an elementary school teacher, you can go there and just keep this paper, keep it safe, and document each time you helped out. So that's very important. And then you will also have to have like a verification form. So you put your name, your signature, the dates you did your service, so like what month to what month, if you did something for a while, the total amount of hours you got, the job function, organization, the phone number that they can contact, an address, site manager, and like their signature. This is basically like your advisor who's in charge, and then their signature. So, and then they kind of, if they don't have like a log with hours, if you don't have this, for example, your advisor can like write a written statement that they completed. For example, I confirm that John Doe completed 75 hours of community service at Frontier. So that's also an option if you weren't able to do this for that. And these forms, you could ask Ms. Bushra. You can get them, just through the email. You could do it virtually, or if when you guys go back in person, we won't see you there, but these forms are usually just lying around the office. Like there's this file thing by the office, so there's a bunch of papers in it. You can just go in there and grab one. And let's say you're on your way to do a community service activity, just go in there and grab one, and they'll be right there. So just be aware there are forms that you need to fill out, and you need to have proof of what you did, just so you're not just wasting your time and you did all this work and it ends up not working out because you didn't document it.
Also, just to be clear, you have to do 75 hours community service as a graduation requirement. So if you're ninth grade, that's a great time to start because senior year is going to be relatively hectic. So if you kind of like break down your hours and you do like 20 each year, then it's really easy to manage. And like we said, you can use all of our tips today to get those 75 hours done. And just because they're just for school doesn't mean you can't use them on your college applications. or your scholarship essays and stuff like that.
For now, I'm just going to, if you have so just to let you know, if you have further questions, you can email Ms. Bushra or you can email Reem at just our GE emails or me. If you have questions, we are willing to answer them. So if you have any questions, just raise your hand or send them in the chat. So is it
There's two people
Tasneem?
who
You have your
their
hand raised?
Yeah, I have a question. So, we choose any work that we like and then do it like a year, all the year, like a year. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, it doesn't have to necessarily be a year, but like we said, it looks good if it's for a full year. It shows that you're committed. But if it's not something that requires you to do a whole year or you're not able to, that's okay. But just pick something that you want to do for community service or an activity, and yeah, just do that for however long as you can or you want to.
And how can I get the signature for the people I work with?
You can just have them sign it, or they can like electronically sign it if you send the form to them through their email. You can have them also do that.
Can I do it like these tables, the work, and the time? Can I do it in Google Docs or should
Can
we
you
like
say that
go
again?
to school?
Can you say that again? Sorry.
What I mean is, do we have to do it or going to school to get the paper for these ones?
Yeah, there's you could just use like the virtual Google Docs version, so you don't have to go to the school. I was just saying like when you guys go back, and are you like, if you're probably a junior or sophomore, or freshman, so when you go next year, you could also have the paper. But as of right now, since we're online, use the Google Doc and send those to the people that you need a signature from.
Okay.
How do you can find that doc?
I will share it with you guys at the end of this meeting.
Okay.
Okay.
Can you just is it okay if you work at home, like helping your little brother for his homework, teaching him how to read and all that?
Yes,
answer
we've
this
had
one.
students who use tutoring as community service hours.
But one thing to keep in mind is that service or like community service can't be to people that are in your family. So you might be helping your brother, but like maybe Miss Bushra might count it, but like for example, for National Honor Society, your service
Hello?
can't be for people in your family because that's kind of already required of you. But if you're helping like maybe a cousin or a neighbor, that's different.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so just be careful with that.
So that's
Muhammad, you
fine.
have
I'm
your
gonna
hand raised?
Yeah. So basically, I help my neighbors during winter time, right? Shoveling snows
Mhm.
and stuff. Does that count as community service? Because I've been doing that for
Yeah.
a long time for them.
Yeah, that's a great example.
All right,
Your
thank you.
neighbors counts.
Okay,
Okay.
so let's
No
say that I
problem.
pick my cousin. Did I have to say like what's her name or what's his name and information, or is that like it's okay if you don't say anything about it?
What do you mean, Yasmin?
Let's
Like
say
you
I
don't have to identify them, but you
that
just
that
say
I
like
have
I
to prove
tutored.
it that she's a student and she needs help or stuff like that.
So like
Or
her advisor, your advisor in that case could be like her parent. So if you don't tutor her through the school, and you kind of like maybe her mom or her dad kind of asked you to help, then you can say that I help a third grade student twice a week. We work on homework, and then your reference or your advisor for that service would be her parents or whoever you're kind of working with. Does that make sense?
yeah, kind of.
Okay.
So Aisha, you have your hand raised. Go ahead.
Yeah, so do the 75 hours have to be like both activities and community service, or can it be any of them?
I'm just trying to figure out the chat. Yeah.
Sorry, can you repeat that question?
I said like do the 75 hours like have to be made up activities and community services?
So your 75 hours for the school have to be strictly community service, but your activities that's kind of your own, that's on your own. There isn't like a set time requirement for activities because like we said, they're recreational, they're for fun. Yeah, there isn't like, there isn't any requirements for them. Activities are just kind of things that you use to fill your time, and then you can also put them on your college applications. Does that answer your question, Aisha?
Yeah, thank you.
I got a private message from Ola, so we kind of already answered this. Does tutoring count, like tutoring younger kids? Yes, it does. Ms. Busher said that's fine, and also just be aware if it's family, like Beam said, like organizations like NHS, if you want to join, you have to have community, you have to do community service, but tutoring like your family that like, lives with you, that will not count. Did they reduce the hours due to COVID? I am not aware. I don't think so. I think the requirement is the same, right?
Yes, the requirement's still the same.
Yep, so still 75 hours, and you guys have this year and next year since you won't be graduating, so you have time to do it. And there are also lots of virtual opportunities that you can also do.
I emailed you guys a virtual opportunity today. It's through Love Michaels. They promote autism awareness for adults. So take a look. You can earn up to 40 volunteer hours with them.
Rabia?
That
I
counts as
got
community service, right?
I'm sorry, Aisha?
I said that counts as community service.
Yeah. Rabia, I got a question in Arabic. So I'm gonna try to answer in Arabic. ريم ما فهمت السؤال تبعك. بدك يعني اشرح عن الكوميونيتي سيرفيس ولا
Yeah, نعم.
Okay, so بدك يعني اشرح عن الكوميونيتي سيرفيس بس بالعربي.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm just gonna explain what community service is in Arabic. community service بالعربي هو ما بعرف الكلمة نفسها، بس إنه تساعدي حدا بالجالية. وهذا إنه تساعدي حدا بالجالية فيه تكون من المدرسة، من الجيران، بالمسجد، أي نوع من هذا الشغل إنه تساعدي حدا، هذا هو الكوميونتي سيرفيس. فكل قبل ما تتخرجي لازم يكون عندك 75 ساعة community service. ف فيكي تساعدي مين ما بدك، بس ما بيقدر يكونوا من العائلة تبعك. فيكي تساوي online tutoring، فيكي تدرسي بالمدرسة online، اللي بدك إياه، بس أهم شيء إنه يكون إنه أنت عم تساعدي حدا.
اوكي، كيف تثبتي هذا لهم؟
اوكي، فلازم إذا بتقدري لازم تكتبي الأيام اللي أنت اشتغلتي على هذا السيرفيس، مع مين اشتغلتي، لازم تشرحي كل شيء وتحطيه، فيك تكتبيه على نوت بوك، أو مثل ما رابية فرجتنا في الأوفيس عندهم أوراق نفسها إنه عندها فيها كل المعلومات عن السيرفيس، مثل مع مين اشتغلتي، وكل هدول المعلومات. فالفورم فيك تلاقيها مس بشرى فيها تبعت لك إياها أونلاين، أو تجيبيها من الأوفيس. وهذا الشيء الأساسي إنه مشان تثبتي إنه أنت اشتغلتي بالكوميونتي سيرفيس. I can't believe I'm talking in Arabic.
we send it back to Ms. Bushra?
Yeah, you send it back to Ms. Bushra. So what you can do is you can I'm going to switch between Arabic and English really quickly. فيكي تكتبي كله وتخليه معك، وبعدين بآخر السنة تعطيها لمس بشرى. Ms. Bushra, if they work on their service, can they start giving you their forms from 9th grade? Is there like a file, or should they just wait until kind of like senior year?
Start a file. We didn't have one in the past, but if they have it ready, it's not a problem. I can hold on to
Okay,
it.
so Ms. Bushra قالت إنه إذا أنتي اشتغلتي بال9th grade، عندك service هلا بال9th grade أو بال10th grade، فيكي تعطيها الورقة أو الفورم من هلا وبيحطوها عندهم، فما لازم تخلي كل شيء بس لا تتخرجي أو قبل ما تتخرجي. ريم، جاوبت على كل أسئلتك؟
نعم، شكرا.
Okay, no
معناته خدم المجتمع، يعني تخدم المجتمع.
Yeah,
Community
شكرا
service.
تسنيم.
I'm just gonna go through the chat.
I'm sorry, I forgot how many hours do you have to do that? How many hours do you have to do that? 59 or 70 something?
75.
75 hours. Okay.
So yeah, tutoring young kids count, and you will have to get, like, their advice would be their parent if you're doing your neighbor's kids. Yes. Could it be in school or anywhere? It could be both. It could be in school or anywhere else that you're doing community service. It does, like we said, it doesn't have to be limited to school. So don't think you have to do it in school. It could be anywhere. Can we come to the school and get the forms? As of right now, nobody's going into the school, so I would say just use the Google Doc that Ms. Bushra will send out to everybody.
I think they're
And that will be
thinking
your best
because we're
option.
going to the test, they're gonna take it like on the way.
Yeah, I don't know if those forms are even available right now, so I would say just stick to
Oh,
the
yeah.
Google Doc for now.
Just Ms. Bushra, do you
Um,
have like that papers already? Let's say that we're gonna come next week to do the test. Are they ready so we can take them, or just do on the file because you don't have them?
I will share it virtually after the meeting's over.
Oh, okay. So
This
I
way,
mean, like
if you lose the
have
hard
paper-
copy,
If-
you can download it again.
If it means something to what's the name, Yasmin, we can have some
Yeah.
copies ready. It's not a big deal. Like you can pick them up, but it's best to have that the document that stays saved all the time for you.
Yeah, like I mean, let's say that maybe I'm from the people who want to make sure that everything is pinned. I'm gonna do in the file and do that on the paper too, so I can keep the paper
That's
with me
fine.
even
We can
through
have
12 days.
copies. We can have copies ready. That's not a big deal at all. We can have it
Yeah.
ready.
Yeah, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
now, Mr. Tangler will translate Reem's Arabic.
Yes, in English. Well, if I may chip in just for 1 second, I am sensing the same thing coming from the presenters, Reem and Rabia, encouraging rest of you guys or ladies to participate outside of your comfort zone, if you will. I know it's always easy to say, I'm just helping someone in my household, whether the hours count or not, we clarified. But I encourage you, like they have done, to get out of that comfort zone. And there is a benefit in it. I'm not saying go anywhere with, don't take any precautions. You can find plenty of opportunities in the local mosques or community places, whatnot, where you can do something, make a difference. And plus the things they mentioned online. If you have the right mindset, the right idea, you can use it for your hours, as well as really be of use to a community, which is what the community service is all about. Colleges kind of want to know, besides your academics, besides those people that know you inside already, what else do we know about you? And when you do community service with good intention, and you find something, a real cause that you do it for, which they mentioned, like the length shows that you were determined to do something meaningful, that speaks a lot about you. So I would encourage, if you have a chance, to find those avenues if they're available, and I'm sure you'll do just as well.
Thank you for that. And somebody asked privately, can you apply for tutoring service or interpreting Bengali? Yes, those both count. Those are very good examples. So you can definitely do those. Tasim, you have your hand raised. Go ahead.
Yeah, do you have like all the job that community service can count?
Would you like an old job, you said?
No, like do you have all the jobs that the community service that help us to get the job?
She sounds like she wants like a list of, like a general list that maybe students can use to start off, and then maybe we add to that list as if there's, I don't know if such thing exists. Do we have something, or maybe we can start something?
I
You mean
think
like an
NHS has a
option
list.
list?
Maybe we can
Alright.
share it when we share the recording, but just keep in mind that community service is anything that helps people, and as long as you're not getting paid for it. So like, it's very broad. That's kind of the thing about it. I was gonna say that if you guys like struggle with finding community service opportunities, contact Ms. Bushra. If you even after we graduate in 2 months, you guys can like reach out to us. Like, I don't mind sharing my personal email, and we can kind of help you with anything like that. Something else to keep in mind is I know at least personally, I was very involved like in the Muslim community. So all of my service or my activities were in the Muslim community. There's nothing wrong with that, but like when you come to apply, just maybe change the name of certain things. So don't say like Masjid Youth Group. Like if all of your activities are in the Muslim community, just you want to just look at it to be able to present it in like a good way. So like for example, I was a part of my Masjid Youth Group, so I just listed it as a youth group, and I said that we made events and stuff. So there's nothing wrong, like being involved in like your religious institutions is another great way to do that, but just be aware of how you present it when you start applying to different things. Rabia, I think there's 3 people who have their hand raised.
So Tasneem, did we answer your question? You still have your hand raised. Okay, she's good. Abu Bakr, you have your hand raised. Go ahead. Or you could put it in the chat if you don't want to talk. Okay. Well, we'll come back to you if you still want to talk. So does anybody else have a question? Raise your hand or send it in the chat.
Yeah, I have a question. It's about the project when you said always have an advisor to confirm. What's that?
Advisor is somebody who's in charge, like who is monitoring you when you're doing your community service. So using like an example, like we said, if you're doing tutor work, like let's say in Frontier, whichever teacher that's that student is, whatever teacher that student has, that would be your advisor, because they're the ones who see what you did and they know how many hours you put in. Or if you're helping your neighbor would be your advisor. They're the ones, whoever is in charge, whoever knows how much work you put in and what you did, and then they're the ones who have to sign off on it.
Okay, thank you.
They're basically your reference. We just use the word advisor because it's a little bit easier, but they're just your reference or the person that you worked with.
Yeah. Oh yeah, like Ms. Busher said, you can count those hours from the previous years that you had community service. You're just gonna have to like go back to whoever you did the community service for, find your advisor and have them, if you have an estimate or hopefully you have a log, however you do that, however many hours you have, you're gonna have to get their signature, of course.
I mean, I would highly suggest to keep that log live, so to speak, so that when you do it, you fill it out when you're done. Instead of a lot of students come back and when they know they've been kind of playing around and they come the last few days before the school, Mister, I need my community service hours. Remember, I did this for you and that for you. It doesn't go like that. We need to be more serious and make sure that if you do something, might as well log it and then have that signature and approval soon after, not down the line somewhere. There's no need to miss out on those opportunities. Like NHS, they came and helped us set up the ceremony last 2 weeks, so that was very helpful for us, and we got the students involved, and it was a huge success. So you can get a lot of those even in school if and when this comes back to normal, but for the time being there's other ways as well.
In the chat we have a question, will we get the Google Doc email after the Zoom meeting is over? Yeah, Ms. Busher said she will send you the log and the verification form after the meeting is over. And we will also be posting this recording on the NHS YouTube, right, Reem? So you can go back and watch this if you need to, because we are recording this.
Watch the other videos in the series.
Yeah, there's also another video about so far the SAT one we have up, and any future ones that we do will also be on the YouTube channel, so you can go back anytime and check those out. Tasneem, you have your hand raised, go ahead.
Yeah, I have a question. So when we finish the community service, where should we send it? To the college or?
Your community service, like the one right now you want to be doing, is for your graduation requirement. So you're going to have to send those to Ms. Bushra for your community service. Now, when you're applying to colleges, this will come later. Your college or a scholarship, they might ask you to kind of list activities or community services that you did. So however they want you to do that, maybe they want you to make a list on like Microsoft Word or even a Google Doc, like a table, or however you want to do it. They'll ask you for that when you're applying to colleges. and then you will basically write them down. And so yeah, you don't like let's say if you have your log, you don't like send that to a college or anything as of right now. Right now, just send those to Miss Bushra to fulfill your graduation requirements. So you could graduate first, and then when you're in your junior and senior year and you're applying to colleges, they might ask you to list community service activities that you did and how many hours you did. So you'll just like list those for them.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much, girls and
You're
the
welcome.
teachers, and thank you, Mr. Tangwe, for smiling the whole meeting. Bye. Have a great day. Have another meeting.
You're welcome. No problem. Does anybody else have any questions? You could send them in the chat or you could raise your hand. Anybody else?
Mr. Tangwe, you've been very quiet. Maybe you have a good question or comment.
Yeah.
I do not, but they've done a great job, and I'm like uber proud of Reem and Rabia. They're great people, and for my sophomores, they're great role models. And I wasn't kidding with Reem and Yaz and Honda. If you're still out there, I want you guys to step up and fill their shoes when they move on to university next year. You have it in you. You can do it. And they're great opportunities. And just like Mr. Malkich said, like it's about stepping outside that comfort zone, challenging yourself as a leader, stumbling sometimes, but getting stronger week by week. And for my sophomores, I know you guys got it. So I'm here for you. Malkich is here for you. Bushra's here. Even Reem and Rabia, when they're at university, will still be sources to help this community out. I'm almost 100% sure of that. So as always, Reem and Rabia, great. And I'll probably see you at NHS in a couple of minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Tangway. So I had a private question. What if we don't know anyone, like you don't know anybody in your neighborhood, you only have your family? So this could be a great chance to look for virtual options. So that would be easy. Like if you just search up online tutoring, there are like 4 or 5 like legit organizations that will come up, and you just sign up and give them your information. You could tutor virtually. Again, like when we go back to in person, there are opportunities in the school to do community service. You could, again, like even a cousin or just a neighbor, anything you do to help somebody that you're not getting paid for and that they're not like your immediate family that you should already be helping. Anything besides those two, those things all count.
There's even an organization that does translation. So for like someone asked me, sorry, about like she said, my English isn't great. Can I still do community service? Yeah, your language shouldn't be a barrier. So like I said, we'll share there's an organization where as long as you understand basic English, they just need you to translate different things for them. And that's an easy way to get your hours in.
Can I do community service like in masjid to
That
help
counts.
the kids to learn Quran or these things? Is it
Yeah, yeah, that counts. You're not getting paid for it and you're helping somebody. Just make sure you have somebody who can sign off on that. Somebody in the masjid who knows that you were helping these people and for how long, so they can kind of sign off on that you did that. So that definitely counts. Somebody asked, how about if you do homeschool? Do you have to do community service hours too? I'm not sure about that.
Are you talking about homeschooling as in right now we're being taught from home? Or because if you're in a homeschool, I don't think you'll be joining this session right now. Or are you asking for someone else?
Are you saying that because we're online, do we still have to do community service?
No, I'm pretty sure she's asking if this Zoom meeting counts as in community hours.
She said she's asking for somebody else. So that, I mean, it just depends on whatever program they're following. I honestly don't know. I'm not sure about their community service.
Yeah, I don't know about community. I know my daughter was in a fully online school and they had it as a requirement. I'm pretty sure there's something that just from my broad knowledge, I would say I'm sure that requirement applies to them as well, but they can find out through whoever the service that they're using for homeschool.
Yeah. Somebody asked, will you be able to know who joined the Zoom meeting?
Yes.
I mean, yeah, we could know.
Yes.
But I mean, this wasn't something that was required as far as I know.
This is optional, no.
Yeah, this is optional. So you guys, this is just to help you out. If you wanted to come, you could come. Rania said, I was informed that poetry and the C2 pipeline program is considered community service now. Is that true? Poetry and C2 pipeline.
I don't see how. Unless that's C2 pipeline is, Ghassan is usually involved with this program, but this is a program that helps students and they do stuff after school. I doubt it falls under that category. I don't know about the other one, poetry.
I think it could count. I think those would count as activities because you're doing things, maybe it's poetry something you enjoy doing for the betterment of yourself. You're not necessarily helping somebody. I mean, you are helping, but you know how I mean it, as in like doing something for somebody else.
You're not servicing the community. Exactly. That's yeah.
But I would count those as activities, I think. You don't need a certain number of activities. It's just, if you're thinking about if you want to apply to a college, do you think that's something that you need? And just do however many you have the time to. Don't stress yourself out too much. Don't try to do too many things at once, and do whichever ones you are interested in. Reem has a question in Arabic. Go ahead.
ريم كنت عم تسألي إذا تحفيظ القرآن بيجوز؟ هذا كان سؤالك؟ سؤالك كانت إذا تحفيظ القرآن بيكون community service؟ أوكي إذا ما حدا عم يدفع لك وعم تشتغلي عم تساعدي حدا مو من عيلتك هذا بيكون community service. She's basically asking if tutoring or helping someone memorize Quran is considered service. It is, as long as you're not getting paid for it, and it's not a direct family member. There was another question, what do I do if I don't have anything to help or I don't have little siblings? So first of all, little siblings don't count for a community service because they're part of your family, and there's always something to do. The whole idea, like Mr. Melkis said, of community service is getting out of your comfort zone and doing something new. And I know like this idea that we're helping others, it helps you as well. You're getting, by you helping others, that's also benefiting you. That's making you a better person, right? So Neda, you have to push yourself. You have to try something new. You have to do something that you aren't used to. You have to talk to people that you don't talk to every day. Get to know different people so that you can do the work and, serve others and make yourself a better person.
I got a private message. Ola, I hope your cousin is feeling okay. They have COVID, but you could do after COVID. You're not required to have these hours done like right now. You have until you graduate next year to have 75 hours. So you have plenty of time to help out, your cousin or whoever else. Yeah. So you're not on like a timeline right now.
And by the way, graduate. So if you do community service during the summer, that counts. So like, let's say I'm a junior and I'm doing community service during June, July, or August, that counts towards my senior year hours. So if, doing stuff during the school year is really hard for you, or you don't have as much flexibility, then the summertime is a great time to do it. There's actually a lot more programs that offer internships or service activities during the summer because students aren't in school. So it might even be easier for you to do that, and that still counts. And by the way, when we say a year of doing something, that's like a school year, so like 9 months, or like a good amount of the school year. For example, like soccer is usually like a season, right? So like if your club, if you are part of a community service club and it's only during a specific season, that still counts. That's you doing the work during that year, during that time.
Somebody said I heard donating clothes counts for community service. Is that true? I wouldn't say just do the action of donating, but if you're like helping out with like the clothing donation drive, like if you're the one organizing the clothes or helping them get to where they need to be or collecting them from people and doing that would count. But just donating clothes by itself, I mean, that's not like a community service activity because you actually have to be doing something. That's just like a one time, you just drop your clothes off and you're gone. But if you're actually helping like organize the clothes or you're helping collect them and do something with the clothes, that would count. Tasneem, you have your hand up. Go ahead.
Yeah, so after we finish it, should we describe our how did we like do the job? Is it fun or these things? Should we describe it for the
For the forms?
yeah.
Yeah, you don't have to describe it or anything. What you know, you have to describe what you did, like what was your role. Like, let's say if you're tutoring, what subject did you tutor in? What kind of subjects, like what kind of topics did you cover? But you don't have to add more than that. You know, you don't have to say who exactly you helped or if you enjoyed it or things like that. You don't have to go into too much detail.
Okay, so
But yeah, just
the main ideas about the community service that I did.
yeah,
Okay.
basically just what you did and just for how long.
Okay, thank you.
That's all you have to worry about. No problem. Somebody asked, is it easy to go to homeschool? I'm confused by this question.
We can't answer those.
Yeah. This is about community service and activities. Homeschooling is based on whatever you choose to do on your own, whatever you find is better for you. Okay, does anybody else have any more questions? Because we're almost out of time, but you guys can raise your hand or talk in the chat real quick. You're welcome, Ola. Ramadan Mubarak to you too. Yeah, you could leave the Zoom meeting. Go ahead. If you didn't need to stick behind this long, if you didn't need to, go ahead. You're good.
We're going to share this recording, and then we're also going to share all of the resources that we mentioned. So just give us like a few days to kind of put everything in one email, and then we'll send it off so that you guys can, everything we talked about, all of the different opportunities, stuff like that, we'll share it. Hopefully just give us like a day or two.
I hope that you guys found this helpful and that we answered the questions that you guys have. I see Mr. Tangless, we're getting ready to type someone.
I really
Yeah,
appreciate the time taken, ladies, and for preparing the presentation and also for being here and doing a great job. Thank you, Mr. Tengve, for your support on the other end. Just you being here. I don't know why you don't talk more, because if I had your voice, I'd be asking questions left and right. But in all seriousness, thank you. I think it was a good success. I mean, to see close to 60 students come up with questions and being here and listening, I'm sure they benefited, and we can learn from this and use it also in the future. Sounds like Mr. Tengve has his army ready for the next year as well.
Yep. So yeah, you're welcome, everyone, and just remember, like juniors, if you guys are still here, we're passing the torch off to you guys. So once we leave, this will be you guys doing these next year for the freshmen and the sophomores. So just be aware of that. So yeah, you're welcome, everyone. Bye.
I have a last question.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so can we start right now or in the summer?
You could start right now, today.
Today?
Yeah, you could start right now. Just after you leave this meeting, you go out and go help your neighbor, do whatever you want. Just make sure you track how long you did it for and you have somebody sign off on it.
Okay, thank you. Have a
You're
great day.
welcome. You too. Thank you, everyone who came.